Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Crispy Compact Communiqué here in 2021, where everything is off the rails. Everything doesn't make sense. My laptop is still in the shop. It's never going to get fixed. Some people are just exploding the stock market. Some people are just crushing the Capitol buildings. It's great. Everything is everywhere. This whole timeline doesn't make any sense.
I gotta say that the sequel to 2020 is getting off to a wild start.
Yeah, Mike, what year was that we naively said like nothing made sense?
I remember in 2019 we would constantly joke that it was the stupidest timeline.
Oh
Uh,
boy, no, you haven't seen anything yet. Welcome to 2021.
hashtag aged like milk, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so needless to say, first off, my laptop is still in the repair shop. Um so unfortunately, yeah, we're stuck to another bare bones show visually, but we still get together to give you the latest in sports, entertainment, and odd news, whether it's through the traditional audio podcast or on the Facebook and YouTube feed. We are still here to give you a fresh episode. I am Rich Liebig.
I'm Michael Costanzo.
And yeah, we got a lot of things to dive into, especially in sports. But before we get into that, Mike, how you doing over there?
I'm doing good. Recently, I've been enjoying this fun little. I actually think I have it here. Hold on.
Uh-oh, he's reaching back into the cave
In
there.
into the TARDIS.
The TARDIS. Yeah.
Look at this. This is the benefit of video podcast is I can show off actual things. So
Uh-oh.
I've been enjoying. I don't know if you can see that. No,
Oh
you can't see.
no, it's your virtual background. Oh, there it is. Universal Yums.
Universal Yums. So I don't know if I've talked about this before, but you know that I love my random subscription box services. This is a new one that I found recently, where you get a new snack box from a different country every month. And so this month was the Netherlands. And so I'm eating. I've been past few days been snacking on some fun little treats from the Netherlands, but yeah, I've really been enjoying it. They sent me an entire package. Look at this. This is wild. They sent me an entire package of cookies.
Oh, look at that.
Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this out. This is thrilling for audio only listeners.
Mike is pulling out
But this is what I was snacking on earlier. They sent me an entire package of speculoos cookies, which are Dutch speculoos cookies, which are basically like ginger snaps.
Okay.
But this is what I've been snacking on today: is a box of Dutch cookies. But yeah, it's fantastic. I love these snack boxes. It lets you travel the world and try snacks from all over the place without leaving your home. You know, I get these weird things like I got what are this cheddar and raspberry cheese crispies. I got Gouda cheese crisp. I got some Stroop waffles.
Waffles.
No, Stroop waffles. I don't know what a Stroop waffle is, but they're these things.
That's a waffle.
That's a Stroop waffle. So yeah, I've been enjoying my snack box recently and playing video games as one does.
There you go.
Rich, what have you been up to recently? Anything fun? More fun than me eating cookies?
Actually, yeah, there's something I do want to mention. I got to do another get together virtually, of course, and all this stuff. And we played this Ellen game for your phone called Psych. It's basically like one of the Jackbox games.
Okay.
But it's kind of built for the phone, like only for the phone. Like you don't need a television or a video game system to run the game through it.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
Oh, okay.
It's produced by Ellen DeGeneres, so cheers to you. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know it's kind of a ripoff because they are taking Jackbox games and just kind of making it just only for phones. But it was still fun. It was easy, very easy to set up and get everybody ready to go for the games. And they have like your traditional word games and stuff like that, but then they have kind of more personal tidbits. Like if I don't know, if Joe was arrested, what would his charge be or something? It was really cool. It was a really
Okay.
cool party game. And again, since it's run on your phone and that's it, no video game system required. You can do it in person. You could do it over Zoom. You could do it any which way that you can imagine. So um, it was cool. I like the fact that there is now that option, because it happens. You can't bring your PlayStation 4 everywhere you go,
Right.
or your gaming PC or anything like that everywhere you go. So
Exactly.
it's good to have that backup plan.
And it's a great way for people to stay connected, while people are still, locked up at home and working from home and just generally like quarantining and staying in during the pandemic, and especially now that it's like the middle of winter as well. So, even, more incentive to stay in. So it's always good that there's, different outlets like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to recently.
Okay,
But
cool.
the other thing that I was up to was watching football because
Yep.
that's much needed. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. We got to kick off sports, though, with this little bit of big news here in Philadelphia. And this is a long time coming. Oh my God, I was really worried the Phillies were going to bundle this mess. And it looked like they were going to because they hadn't signed him, and we're inching closer and closer to spring training. But the Phillies finally got it in ink. Phillies signed catcher JT Realmuto to a 5-year, $115 million deal. This is huge. Realmuto is considered to be at least one of the top 3 catchers in the entire majors.
Okay.
Some would argue he's the best in all of baseball if you go by WAR and other losses saved, uh, wins over replacement, stuff like that. When you get into all those really deep saber metrics and stuff, he's through the roof. And this is also somebody that Bryce Harper loves in the locker room. He was very vocal that, hey, you got to make sure this guy doesn't leave town. He needs to be a part of this team and what we're trying to build here. So it got a little dicey. I was worried. I thought the Phillies were going to blow this, and I was going to read that he was going to leave town, but thankfully they came to their senses and they put pen to paper, and Realmuto is staying in Philadelphia. Thank God. We needed
Good.
positive news.
Yeah, right. So with them retaining him, I mean, where does that place the Phillies in terms of, their ability this upcoming season? Better or worse? I mean, are we going to see any real push to win meaningful games, or is this just another, half step to, building a not a half step, but like, one of the many steps needed to make this team truly competitive?
Well, definitely it's a sign that the Phillies are more on the incline that they're trying to get better. If they had lost Real Muto, they might as well just start the rebuilding process from scratch, and that would not have pleased Bryce Harper.
Right.
It could have been a really bad domino effect when you think about it.
Right.
But luckily, we're not going down that path. I don't think the Phillies still really do major damage in 2021, but they are on the right path, I think.
Okay. Well, some really positive news for Phillies fans there and the city of Philadelphia. That's a really big signing there. Good for them.
Yeah, we needed that.
Yeah.
Philadelphia needed any sort of positive news.
Yeah.
But how about we get to the football games? Because this is what I did. I was actively watching both the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. Um, and now we know the matchup for Super Bowl 55, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the reason why I put at in is because it literally is going to be at Tampa Bay. Somehow the Tampa Bay
Oh
Buccaneers
man.
have pulled it off. They are literally the home team in the Super Bowl. The first time that has ever
Wow.
happened in the 55-year history of the Super Bowl.
That's actually amazing. I didn't realize that was happening.
Those
Wow.
bastards, yeah. They chose the right time to go all in and hit pay dirt because
It's also, yeah, you mentioned it's never happened before. I was going to say every time that, a host city, or rather, the team for the host city has never made the Super Bowl before. There was a whole big hubbub about Dallas making it when, Super Bowl was going to be in Dallas, and but Minnesota making it when it was in Minnesota, but that didn't pan out quite for them in that case.
yep.
So it's actually really interesting that happened.
Yep, Tampa Bay pulled it off. You sons of bitches.
Do you think that gives them an edge?
I think it does a little bit. You got to at least factor that in.
Yeah.
Before we get into the matchup itself, there is something I want to nitpick here, and this is something that happened in the NFC Championship game that allowed Tampa Bay to make it to the Super Bowl. And that was a very critical misstep by Green Bay head coach Matt LaFleur. With his team down 8 points, he has the offense and Aaron Rodgers. They march down the field and they get to a situation where it's 4th and goal on Tampa Bay's 8-yard line with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left. You have Aaron Rodgers behind center. You have weapons in Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan and all this stuff. And instead, Matt LaFleur decides to kick a field goal, reducing the lead to only 5. And he claims he believed the defense was going to get a stop on the following possession. But unfortunately, we never got the chance to see Aaron Rodgers hit the field again because Brady led the offense down for 2 first downs, ran out the clock, and that was all she wrote. Mike, can you find any sort of redemption in this decision by Matt LaFleur? Because
I'm just curious why he thought that the defense was going to get a stop against a team that had already put up 31 points.
Yeah. This did not make any sense on any level.
I mean, look, at a certain point, at the risk of sounding like a meme, you play to win the game. And on a stage like the NFC Championship game, within striking distance like that, with arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, you're within 8 yards of the end zone. I mean, you got to go for it. You got to go for it there. I can't. I guess there is some, you make it a 1-score game. If the defense does get a stop, a touchdown outright wins, rather than you get the touchdown, the 2 points, all you do is tie. You still got to go to overtime. So I guess there is an argument to be made there, but you know that I'm a more aggressive minded armchair coach / quarterback. I would have gone for it. I would have wanted to go for it in that situation.
It doesn't make any sense.
What else is there to play for? This is it. This is the end of the line. If you don't win this game, season's over. So you leave it all out there on the field. They didn't leave it all out there on the field. It was a bad decision. He'll be thinking about that going into next season.
Yep. And it's funny, this play that happened, even though this was Matt LaFleur's decision, I kind of feel that this has been very indicative of the difference between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Remember a while ago, we had a quote that came through that said Aaron Rodgers signs big paychecks and he just wins games, but right. Tom Brady takes pay cuts and he wins Super Bowls.
Yep.
So take that philosophy plus this game, plus the fact that at halftime, with 4 seconds left on the clock, Tom Brady told Bruce Arians, I want to go for a shot down the end zone. Just they were on like the 35-yard line. They were in that range where they could have kicked a long field goal, see if it went through.
Right.
And get a quick 3 points before the half. But Tom Brady shooed the kicker off of the field, and he told Bruce Arians through his helmet, I want to take one more shot down the field. And guess what? He found Scotty Miller open for a touchdown right before the half ended in that game.
It's those types of plays that set certain players and certain teams apart. I mean,
I
not
think
this.
so to compare and contrast, if
Yeah.
I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm getting the message in my headset that says we're going to kick a field goal with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left on the clock, I would have been no, get out of here. We need to
Yeah.
win this now. And I think it's kind of indicative that Aaron Rodgers kind of just was passive. He was kind of just like,
He always
all right,
has.
if this is your call, all right, you're going to get the heat for it.
He's always struck me as, I know he's a huge competitor and I know that he's an intense individual, but he always strikes me as somebody who isn't that type of Brady caliber where he's going to wave off, the kicking team. He's not, I don't know if intense is the right word, because he is, from what I understand, an intense individual, but I guess not intense enough to pull rank on a coach or something like that, on a coach's decision.
Well, maybe he should have in this one, because this
He should have.
move did not make any sense.
Yeah, I can't really make excuses for this other than, they must have really believed in that defense, but that defense gave up 31 points already. So, I mean, what are the odds you're going to get, I mean, stop or no stop, that's not a lot of time to work with.
Yeah.
This
is the end of the game.
You figure Brady's going to kill at least 45 seconds to a minute, even if you do end up stopping him. So you're leaving your offense with just a minute left to go down and score a touchdown. Even though your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, that's cutting it close. I'd rather just go for the touchdown and 2-point conversion.
Yeah, right there.
And then force Brady to go out there and win the game.
You're 8 yards away too. You're not like, this isn't like a 4th and 20, you know? Like this is
exactly. You're within easy striking distance. Not easy, but like easier striking distance.
Yeah, it wasn't outlandish.
Not only that, but then if you do miss on that conversion, Brady has it at the 8-yard line. It has to drive, or he doesn't have to drive very far. But if your defense does stop him, then you have excellent field position for, another drive. I feel like there's more arguments for going for it than against going for it.
Oh, way more. It was just, you could even hear the commentators. Troy Aikman was flipping out. He was like, "What? This doesn't make any sense."
You play to win the game.
Yeah.
You don't play to just play it.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was, other than he says he believed in the defense, but that's still just not. That's not enough for me. I think there's got to be something else that went wrong.
Yeah.
Or Matt LaFleur doesn't know how to coach in the last 2 minutes, which would be more embarrassing. But nevertheless, that did happen. This is the way it is. And now we've got the Chiefs at the Buccaneers for the Super Bowl happening in 2 weeks. So we'll give you our predictions next week, not this week. But something I wanted to point out, this is going to be between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. First off, Tom Brady, this is his 10th Super Bowl. Dear Lord. I
heard a stat just earlier today. Almost, what is it, 50% of the Super Bowls?
Almost, yeah, 48.
Since he's been in the league, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's essentially half the Super Bowls.
Yeah. So between Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, do you know how far apart they are in age?
How far apart?
Patrick Mahomes is 25 and Tom Brady is 43.
Wow.
So that is a full 18-year age gap between the two starting quarterbacks in this year's Super Bowl, which is official. That makes it the largest age difference between two starting quarterbacks in Super Bowl history.
Wow.
And this is a little fun experimental thing you want to go with here. Brain activity, if you will.
Okay.
If Patrick Mahomes reaches the Super Bowl at Tom Brady's current age, Patrick Mahomes would be starting Super Bowl 73 in the year 2039.
Wow.
That is crazy to think about.
Tom Brady has had an incredible career, no doubt about it. That longevity, that you never see players with that type of longevity. And so just to imagine, just to put in perspective, when you said that, if Mahomes plays just as long, he'd be in Super Bowl 73 in 2039. Like, that is a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah.
I think that really, I think it really highlights just how long Brady has been playing this game, which
Yeah,
it's baffling.
it is. And the worst part is
Like, he hasn't slowed down at all.
right. The worst part is no matter what the outcome, I think Brady comes back next year.
He
Like
said
100%.
he said he wanted to play to 45.
Yeah.
I think this dude is going to actually make it. He's
Because
going to,
because either way, if he wins the Super Bowl, that validates that he can still play. If he
Right.
loses the Super Bowl,
he can still play because he made the Super Bowl.
He's going to have a chip on his shoulder and he wants to win the Super Bowl. Like, it's like either way, we can't get rid of Tom Brady.
So actually, if you want to get rid of him, just let him win the next few years, so then he'll actually retire. Because if he loses Super Bowls, he's going to keep wanting to come back.
Yeah.
The secret to getting rid of him is letting him win. No, I'm kidding.
God, I don't know. Like I said, Mike, he can't keep getting away with it. It's unfair. 10 Super Bowls.
It's sure it might be unfair, but like, if he's clearly the best at the position that the game has ever seen, and I think that goes without saying. And I think,
a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be looking back and saying, remember when we watched Brady, the greatest of all time. I think this also settles the debate about who was better, Brady or Belichick. I think it's Brady. I think Brady went to a different team and led them straight to a Super Bowl in his first season there with that new team, in a new conference, new team, new coaches, new system. Didn't matter. Straight back to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that plays out in 2 weeks' time. But in the meantime, we've got other football news. The Eagles, in the middle of all this, have announced their head coaching decision. They finally made a decision. And they're going with former Colts offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni, which is an interesting call. The poacher, former offensive coordinator's offensive coordinator.
I've been loving the jokes. They're like, oh, we're the Philadelphia Colts, because, the Colts took our offensive coordinator, so we took their offensive coordinator. We're getting back at them. But I actually like this hiring. From the little bit that I've read and from what I've been hearing, he's a favorite amongst players. He's good in the locker room. He's a quote unquote players coach, but he has more of an edge than Peterson, and he'll hold people accountable where Peterson didn't. I also like the fact that I saw this tidbit, and this I think is going to be crucial for the Eagles' next steps, that he was offensive coordinator for the Colts during a time in which they had three very different quarterbacks: Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, and Phillip Rivers. And he took those teams and turned each of those teams into a top 10 offense, with three very different quarterbacks. So he has experience developing quarterbacks. He's worked with many different quarterbacks. He's also, worked with wide receivers, another area that the Eagles desperately need help with. It was a position he played. It was a position he coached. He's reportedly has a big interest in developing the wide receiver position. So both those things, his ability to develop quarterbacks and wide receivers, are two things we desperately need on offense. So it's one of those hires where it's like not the flashiest hire. We entered the game late, but I think that it's pretty good for what the Eagles need and, the direction they want to head in.
It's worth a shot. I'm just glad they didn't go with Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was everybody's fear.
Yeah.
The other thing that I like about this hire is that he's moving very quickly to fill those coaching vacancies. He's bringing over former LA Chargers offensive coordinator Shane Steichen to be the offensive coordinator, as well as former Indianapolis Colts defensive backs coach Jonathan Gannon as the defensive coordinator. And he's also retaining offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland, which is huge for us. He's been one of the best positional coaches the Eagles have had. So it's really important that we retained him. On the flip side, we're also losing a handful of coaches, sadly. We're losing special teams coach Dave Phipp to the Detroit Lions. Deuce Staley
Deuce is
also.
huge.
Deuce is a big loss there. I think Deuce finally just had enough. Every year he interviews for head coach and offensive coordinator positions, not with the Eagles. But he had previously interviewed for the head coaching position before they hired Peterson. He's been hiring for the offensive coordinator position here the past couple of seasons. And he was like, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna jump ship, which is sad. It shows that this organization, like, for as weirdly loyal as they are for certain people, they apparently didn't think highly enough of Deuce to give him a shot, which is really troubling, really upsetting. But he's now with the Detroit Lions. Wish him the best of luck. And this is actually good news here. Quarterback coach Press Taylor will not be retained by the team. So I think that was a good move by the Philadelphia Eagles to get rid of him, because he was just disastrous for Carson Wentz and the offense this past season.
All right. Well, there you go. That is your update on the current status of the Philadelphia Eagles. I wanted to do this little activity right before we leave the sports sampler because just all the other headlines that you've been hearing in the NFL that's not Super Bowl related, not Eagles related, mostly revolve around quarterbacks. And it is pretty much going to be guaranteed that this offseason could be one of the wackiest in terms of quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of rumors, a lot of trade scenarios floating by different teams, and it's going to be interesting to watch. I forget who said it. Someone on ESPN said that the NFL league office never says that they are off season. They say that they are either in a playing season or a non-playing season, because they believe that the whole year is supposed to be dedicated to football. And guess what?
Yeah.
With a situation like this plays perfectly into that. So I got a list of a couple of quarterbacks that Adam Schefter mentioned that either at one point or another, there's been rumors that they aren't coming back to the team that they're with. So I thought it'd be fun to go down this list kind of rapid fire, and let's go over just kind of first instinct. What do you think? All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So first one's easy one. Deshaun Watson. That's an easy one because Watson says he wants out. So he's going to get traded.
Yeah, I think the Texans are in a bad way. They desperately need to rebuild. And while having a stud young quarterback, one of the best of the game right now, be the centerpiece would be great. They also need draft capital. So if they could find a trade partner to give up one, maybe even two first-round picks, after sacrificing multiple first-round picks themselves, Deshaun Watson is the player to move in order to make that happen. Deshaun Watson, like you said, is unhappy there. Nothing worse than a disgruntled player. A disgruntled quarterback is probably the absolute last thing that a team wants. So,
well, go to the Jets and get 3 first-rounders for him, because they got all the draft picks stockpiled. So there you go. Next one, interesting. He just lost the championship game. Aaron Rodgers.
So Aaron Rodgers,
situation where maybe they move on. The Packers move on.
It's interesting. I saw something recently, a headline. I didn't delve too deeply into it because I thought it was just, clickbaity type stuff. But Aaron Rodgers wants some show of commitment from the organization. He wants them to say, you know what? Yeah, we drafted Jordan Love, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But we're committed to you. You still clearly have a lot left in the tank. He wants a deal from the Packers. But I mean, let's see, are the Packers going to go the route that they did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers? Are they going to let Jordan Love sit on the bench, or are they, looking potentially, Aaron Rodgers has, a lot of cap space tied up in him. Maybe it's time to move on. There's a it's not all the realm of possibility. I could see them potentially moving on from Aaron Rodgers, freeing up some cap space, continuing to improve this team. They have a lot of great offensive and defensive weapons. If they think highly enough of Love, maybe they transition over to him and hope they don't see too much of a dip in performance and be able to make it back to the playoffs without having to, give up too much and still get, a king's ransom for Aaron Rodgers. So potentially, if that relationship is
Yeah.
soured, maybe.
I think it's like 90%. It's probably going to be fine, but there is a small chance that
There's
maybe
a small
something
chance, yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Exactly.
Next, Matthew Stafford. This is pretty much a go that he's going to get traded. Stafford apparently had a meeting with the Lions front office, and they said that they are going to amicably part ways. So the Lions are going to be hearing trade offers on Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I mean this isn't so much this is pretty much confirmed at this point that, they're shopping Matt Stafford. Um Stafford's a good quarterback. I think any team would be lucky to trade for him. It just depends on what Detroit's looking to get in exchange for him, because he's quietly been one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
But yeah, another big name that could be moving soon.
Yep. Here's our division rival, Dak Prescott. He's been having trouble with his contract.
This is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one. This is actually the toughest one on this list, I think, because Dallas is in a pickle. They have no heir apparent for Dak Prescott if they decide to move on from him. But he can't get this contract signed. So Dallas right now, I think Prescott has all the power, because he could force a situation like Kirk Cousins where the team just keeps franchise tagging him and he rakes in a cool 30 some $1 million year after year. Kirk Cousins did that twice to the then Redskins, now football team. So Dak Prescott could force Dallas to do that, or force them to move him, in which case, he might land in a better situation. I don't know. This one's a giant question mark for me. I don't know which way. You'd think Dallas would have signed him a year or two ago. And to let this drag on this long, it just goes to show the ineptitude of the Dallas Cowboys organization.
Yeah, I think in the end they probably just franchise tag him.
Again,
But
didn't they already franchise tag him?
yeah, but you can do it again. No
Yeah, I
problem with
know
that.
that's what I mean. Yeah, they're gonna end up pulling Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. How about Sam Darnold? Because the Jets could be a destination for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, the Jets could be a destination for him. They also have, a lot of top draft picks, so they could draft a quarterback as well. They have a lot of options, and it's not crazy anymore to see a team draft a quarterback high and then turn around and draft another quarterback high. We saw the Arizona Cardinals do that. Look how that worked out for them. I mean, didn't work out too badly for them. They have a good building piece there in Kyler Murray. So again, Sam Darnold, it's a bit of a question mark, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. They could, go get Watson. They could stay where they are in the draft and draft a quarterback. They have a lot of options available to them.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the problem though is the Jets just need quality players all around.
So you think they're going to hold
Defense.
on to Darnold and instead use that draft capital for
Yeah.
other things?
Yeah, I think that would be the smart play because they just need help all over the team. They just need pure influx of talent.
Yeah, and we saw how that worked in Miami Dolphins' favor. They got a quarterback, but then they surrounded him with better players. Using all those first round picks that they got from other teams.
Yep. Next one on the list is Carson Wentz. I think it's pretty much secured that he's going to be in Philly with the firing of Doug Peterson.
Yeah, I think that despite rumors and reports saying that his relationship with the team is fractured and that he hasn't come out and said anything to the media, I think that the hiring of Nick Sirianni, who has a focus with quarterbacks, that bringing in offensive coordinators that have a focus with quarterbacks, that Philadelphia is clearly committed to fixing Carson Wentz and getting him back to as close as they can to 2017 Carson Wentz as possible. Now, the other half of that, of course, is Carson Wentz. Is he going to be amenable to these changes? I think, like you said, getting rid of Peterson, bringing in another coach who's, maybe going to coach him a little bit harder. Maybe he'll be agreeable to that. There's still the outside chance, I think less than 10% that he gets moved just because the contract is so large and they did make all these coaching changes. So it would seem ridiculous if they, you know, make all these changes and then still move him. But nothing in the NFL is for certain. I think it's much more certain that he'll stay than it is he'll get traded, but it's not impossible that he gets
Yeah.
traded.
I think pretty much he stays put unless some team wants to really go out of their way to get him.
I think the combination of the coaching hires and all these other quarterbacks potentially hitting the open market, or not the open market, but being put on the trade block, I think that tanks Wentz's value a little bit. So again, makes it harder to move him. Not
Yeah, I
impossible,
mean,
but
look at all these quarterbacks we're talking about right now.
yeah.
Next one on the list, Jimmy Garoppolo. His future's not secured in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Jimmy Garoppolo experiment was a fun ride, but I think that San Fran's probably going to want to move on. Best to do it sooner rather than later, too. Has he even played? I mean, like, what's the story? He sort of just disappeared.
Well, in games that he plays, they win, but unfortunately,
He
he's been
can't. He
hurt a
can't
lot.
stay. Yeah, he can't stay on the field. So I don't know,
Next,
maybe they hope that he stays healthy, though.
yeah, maybe. Next up, Jameis Winston. What about that? What
What are you?
what did the Saints do? The Saints have Drew Brees retiring. Jameis Winston is done his 1 year experimental deal. So right now, the only active signed quarterback is Taysom Hill.
Uh, so wait, is Jameis Winston going to be a free agent, or
If they
is
don't,
he?
yeah, if they don't offer him something, yeah.
So I mean, what happens with Jameis Winston actually depends on what the other quarterbacks do. Maybe the Saints make a play for like Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford could slip in there and potentially fill the void left by Drew Brees. That doesn't, or if Rodgers really is on the trade block or really unhappy, Rodgers would be a good fit there as well. If these quarterbacks don't move or if other teams swoop in there, the Saints, are better off re-signing Winston, having an open competition with Taysom Hill, and seeing who the better players in training camp.
All right, and then I'm just gonna go over these last couple of names that are
There's a
just
lot of quarterback names on this list. This is going to be a wild offseason.
right, and these are the quarterbacks that didn't fare well and are probably gone. You've got Cam Newton, Mitchell
Yeah, he's gone.
Trubisky.
Yeah, he's gone.
Um, to be fair, this isn't his fault, but Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, he did his bridge year with the Panthers. I think he'll be finding another job pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it's funny. I'm going over this list. There's a lot of quarterback talent that's going to be available. So
Yeah. And it's ranging from pro bowlers to backups to, question marks. It's going to be very interesting. We could see a lot of new faces on a lot of teams, a lot of, old household names, potentially Rodgers and Stafford, all of a sudden in new uniforms like Brady was with the Bucks this year.
yeah,
It's, and we got players like Breeze and Rivers retiring. Like it's going to be, for us who grew up with those quarterbacks, it's going to be really weird seeing them on different teams or, not playing at all. It's truly a new era of quarterbacks led by, the Mahomes and the Wentzes and the Goffs. We'll see where it goes.
yeah. So there you go. I thought that was cool. A little list of quarterbacks that hey, they might be on the move. It's going to be a wacky off season, post Super Bowl. All right, let's get into some entertainment news real quickly. This is interesting news for another fandom, not Star Wars, not Lord of the Rings, but for Harry Potter fanatics. Not only is there going to be a Harry Potter video game in the works, which sounds actually really interesting. I can't wait
It
to see
looks really good. Yeah.
how that plays out. But HBO Max now, there's a rumor going on that they are researching a possible Harry Potter spin-off series. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, so the Hollywood Reporter broke the news earlier this week that HBO executives are, quote, talking with potential show writers to discuss pitch ideas for what a Harry Potter TV series would look like. Man, and, just hearing that, the potential for a Harry Potter TV series, that is really exciting stuff, especially I think it's interesting though, HBO. I mean, it would be HBO because they have a deal with Warner Brothers, but I mean, think of the potential for like it's so overplayed now, but like a darker, grittier, more grounded Harry Potter. To fit in with the whole HBO, dark and gritty thing. It doesn't mean they have to go that way, but when you look at, the game that Warner Brothers is putting out there, what are you laughing about?
So just something that it sprung to my memory. So just a quick side note. There's an image somewhere online. If you go through the 8 Harry Potter films,
Yeah.
every title screen gets progressively darker and darker and darker and darker.
So really, this is just the final form. This is just the
Yeah,
final evolution.
right. This TV series, if it goes that direction, would be the final form of the title crawl.
So there you go. Confirmed. It's going to be a darker, grittier, adult-themed Harry Potter.
And you barely can see the title screen.
You can barely see it. That's right. It's just pitch black. You're like, what is that? Well, that was the criticism with Game of Thrones that last season, that nobody could see anything because it was so dark.
There you go. HBO.
Perfect.
This is perfect.
I'm secretly an HBO executive.
We did it. We solved the Harry Potter mystery. That's it.
I'm getting a call from HBO right now. They want to sign us, Rich.
There we go. That's the end of that chapter. There you go.
But on a serious note, this series doesn't have to be a dark and gritty series. The reason I bring that up, though, is because Warner Brothers seems to be going in that direction with the video game. And I think it's interesting that, the video game and this news are sort of happening around the same time, as they're looking to expand this universe outside of the Harry Potter plot line itself. The video game is taking place hundreds of years before Harry Potter, in the 1800s. They're exploring what Hogwarts looked like before Harry Potter, and as wizarding is really coming up through the 1800s. So, I would love to see a series set during that same time. Go more, Harry Potter's already fantasy, but more like, old timey fantasy kind of.
Well,
I think
in an era where we have stuff like The Mandalorian and Cobra Kai, like there's no limit. If you have a universe, a true fandom universe, there's so many different directions that you can go in. I mean, it makes sense that why not? There's so much to learn, between Hogwarts and the Ministry of Magic and if you want to go the same familiar path with Death Eaters and Voldemort, you can, but you could also go into the how this all started. How did the whole alliance between what was cool with the magic, the people that could do magic, and the Muggles that couldn't do magic? That could be a own series right there. Is less kind of like a weird kind of X-Men thing on allowing magic, allowing magic to be a part of the world, and how there maybe was like a loose alliance between what was said and done between Muggles and magicians. So there's a lot of different avenues you can go.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing that I love about series like this, is that there's so much world building to get into. There's so much, untapped potential there, because, J.K. Rowling built this amazing, lively, fleshed out world, but we only see a small slice of it, and then of course we have the Fantastic Beasts films, which aren't exactly my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people really enjoy them. But I guess what I'm getting at, what you're getting at, is that there's still this huge portion of this universe that's completely untapped, and we're seeing that a little bit with, like you said, Star Wars, The Mandalorian. Like there's this shift where they're taking established properties and they're finding the gaps in the story and they're telling the stories within those gaps. And that's what I'm interested in. That's why I'm interested in the video game that they're working on, Hogwarts Legacy. And that's why I think that this series, if, these writers that they're asking for pitch ideas from, hopefully they're seeing this video game being developed and like, hey, we can, hook up with this thing. We can explore a completely unexplored section of the world, of the universe, by tapping into a little bit of what this game is tapping into. It would be smart from a marketing perspective. It'd be smart from, raising awareness. Not that Harry Potter needs any awareness raised, but I mean, what better way to launch new TV series than to be like, hey, this is also the same time period that's covered in this new video game coming out on next gen, on, new gen consoles. So, I mean, there's just so many possibilities. And, we already have somewhat of a framework for something like this. The Magicians is a very popular TV show.
Yeah, good show.
A more adult-themed Harry Potter-esque show, which I only read the first book. I haven't actually watched the series, but it's a fantastic story. At least the first book was a fantastic story. So there's definitely room for a darker, more mature Harry Potter. And the reason I keep saying that, because I don't want to see, as much as I love Harry Potter, the PG/PG-13 realm of Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts, I think, has been, it's reached critical mass. I personally would be a little bit tired of that if they came out with something that was in the same vein and tone as that. I'm not asking for like full, like Dark Knight, dark and gritty. I don't think anybody wants that, but a more grounded Harry Potter, that's, less about the kids and like running around and stopping crime, and more about like, diving into the nitty gritty of the universe and telling those untold stories and exploring the deeper corners of the world. That's what I would be interested in.
I think that would work. So
absolutely.
Very interested to hear this story hit. We'll see how it goes. Maybe 2021 could be a revival year for Harry Potter, between the video game and possibly a TV series.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
We're going to end entertainment there. Let's go right to our favorite segment. We've done enough sports. We've done enough entertainment. It's time for some good old-fashioned odd news. I know Mike loves this portion of the show.
We love the odd news. What do you got for us this week?
All right. Boy, I just realized, poor Houston, they can't catch a break on this show. I've criticized them over and over and over again. Now they're getting the crap kicked on them in the odd news. This story from Houston, Texas.
All right. So what's going on in the Lone Star State? Stupid Houston deserves every bit that they get. News? They deserve everything they get thrown at them. Yeah.
Okay. So, maybe you're a big fan of Grand Theft Auto and you want to steal a car. Mike, what would be a car you would steal?
A car that I would steal?
Yeah.
Something sensible that wouldn't draw a lot of attention to me. Like just a typical average mid-sized sedan, something that I can, flip for a quick buck, but nothing too outrageous. I'm not stealing sports cars. I'm not stealing golf carts. I'm stealing something right in the middle. You can steal a Corolla or a Honda and you can flip it for like, a couple $1,000. Easy peasy, just like that.
Yeah. I noticed you said something that wouldn't attract attention.
Like, not something that wouldn't attract attention. And I'm assuming that's the exact opposite of what our criminals did in this story.
Oh, yeah, because out of everything to steal, this guy decided to steal an ambulance that was reporting to the scene of a medical emergency. So this thing literally had the lights going off and, the siren and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so hold on. Time out. I know I said I wouldn't steal anything that would draw too much attention, but this is one of the situations. It's like a bad joke that becomes so bad it becomes good. I think I think this plan is so bad it becomes good again because think about it. You steal the ambulance. What does everybody do when they see an ambulance? They pull over. They give the ambulance a clear path. What better vehicle to escape in quickly than one in which people are programmed to move over and allow through? This is so bad. It's actually brilliant, Rich. This is the best way to steal a vehicle, I'm convinced now.
Okay, so here's my response to that. This makes
Okay.
sense. This makes sense in Grand Theft Auto,
Okay.
because I would take the ambulance in Grand Theft Auto, activate the sirens, and the traffic AI actually responds to the siren.
Yeah, they do.
So if you're driving down the highway with the sirens blasting, the cars do get out of the way.
Exactly. Right. Grand Theft
So,
Auto logic equals real life logic.
well, unfortunately, I don't think it works that way in the real world here. But here's the story. So, 36-year-old Ronaldo Leonard, he decided to steal an ambulance when paramedics were on a medical emergency call.
See, now that's the dickish part because you're stealing an ambulance that's responding to a call. Somebody needs that ambulance. So unless you're committed to going and finishing that call, you shouldn't be stealing that ambulance.
Yeah, I do feel bad for whoever the emergency call was for,
Yeah,
because now you don't have transportation to the hospital.
exactly.
So yeah, this guy is a little bit of a dick for doing it during an actual
Oh,
medical emergency.
100%. Yeah.
But guess what? The stupidity doesn't end there.
Oh, okay.
Because Mike, where would you go if you have an ambulance, a stolen ambulance?
I mean, I don't know. I'd probably try to get as far away as possible from where I stole it from, first and foremost.
Except for one thing.
What?
Maybe you're a little hungry,
Oh
because
man.
Leonard decided to take the stolen ambulance with its lights still flashing. He couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And he stopped at the local Jack in the Box
Oh
drive-through.
man. So the lights are just going and he's just like ordering hamburgers.
I need this burger. Help, help.
He's like, I need 50 cc's of burger. Stat. This is an emergency, damn it.
Put it here. I need burgers.
Put it here. An IV of burger juice.
I need burger juice.
Oh man, that is a surefire way to kill you.
Stat, need it. Clear. Oh, I love the fact he couldn't figure out how to turn the lights off.
I mean, it just goes to show you, that should have been a dead giveaway that he wasn't actually the driver of this vehicle. One, he wasn't dressed like an EMT, I assume.
No.
And two, he couldn't figure out how to turn the lights off. So those two things should have been dead giveaways.
Man, this EMT really needs lunch. Do the other cars pull over in the drive-through?
Yeah, did they like try and get out of the way so the ambulance can get through the drive-through faster?
I guess I got to move out of the. I guess my order is going to be superseded here.
Yeah.
There must be a medical emergency involving burger.
They like some of the drive-thrus have like that little like cattle chutes. They just like drive over the curb through the flower bed, to make room for the ambulance.
Must be emergency. The lights are going off.
Exactly.
Well, needless to say, someone I think put two and two together that maybe this guy isn't supposed to be driving the ambulance.
What?
Because cops were called to the Jack in the Box, where they promptly arrested Leonard. He was charged with felony theft. And I don't know why, I didn't know this is a thing, but apparently if he had made it to the black market, the ambulance would have been sold for around $150,000. Fun fact.
Wow. There you go. So an ambulance is worth $150,000. That makes sense. I guess it's a very specialized vehicle,
I just think that's weird that they included this in the news story.
Thanks.
Yeah. Who went the extra mile to figure out what the black market cost is on an ambulance? Thanks.
That is a weird thing. Like, just the person writing the story, like, let me check up on that.
Yeah. Let me call my local black market dealer.
Let me see. I'm looking up how to buy an ambulance right now.
Mike, just for the sake of argument, how much would you charge for a stolen ambulance? 150,000, you say? Oh,
150,000. There you go.
thanks, Mike.
I'm trying to find out. It's hard to find. I don't have any black market sites. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Wait, commercialtrucktrader.com. This seems promising.
There you go. This seems like an avenue.
Oh, you can get a 2008 Ford F650 ambulance for $42,000.
That sounds like a steal.
What a steal. But again, that's a 2008. So wait, Ford makes ambulances. I'm going deep dive now. Ford.
We're going to buy an ambulance by the end of this podcast.
We're going to buy an ambulance by the end of this podcast. Oh, wait, fleet.ford.com. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, wow.
Ooh, models.
Okay, so they have. I had no idea. This is interesting. So there's a Type 1 F350, F450, F550 Super Duty chassis cabs, and it shows an ambulance there. There's an F650 Pro loader.
Ooh, Pro.
I don't know what any of this means. You have to call. You can't just buy. You can't just buy the ambulance. You got to call.
What? This isn't available on Amazon Prime?
No.
I demand my ambulances. 2 days.
I need it immediately.
I need it in 2 days. Deliver it.
Oh my God. This is amazing. This is like a whole world that I never knew about.
There you go. Mike, take your money and buy yourself a fleet of ambulances.
I'm going to buy a fleet of ambulances. You know what? They can charge a lot for an ambulance, right? That'd be a good way to make money, right?
There you go. Just hire a couple EMTs. You're set.
No biggie.
Yeah. Also, if you're wondering, here's his mugshot. Just for some odd reason, there you go.
Okay.
There he is.
Well, he doesn't. I mean, I don't know what a typical ambulance thief looks like, but
yeah, he seems very content. Actually,
he just seems like a normal dude. Like he's just like, and
I
also
wonder what it would be like to drive this ambulance.
Right, and like not concerned at all that he was just arrested stealing an ambulance.
Yeah, he's very calm.
Yeah,
like I got.
That's what I mean. His mugshot is just like average guy. Like there's nothing notable about this guy.
Well, I was gonna go to jail anyway. I might as well do something fun with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Normally, when you show these mugshots, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy definitely looks like somebody who would, have sex with a couch from last week. No,
that seemed like a regular guy.
This guy's just a regular guy. He just one day he snapped and decided I got to steal an ambulance.
Yeah, he's actually literally just walking the street. Ambulance with its door unlocked.
People do have weird thoughts like that. Don't you ever have a weird thought like that? What would happen if I, and then insert crazy, random, horrible thing here,
Yeah, and then you do it.
Well, no, normal people don't.
No, some people do. That's why we have odd news.
Some people do. That's true.
There you go. And that will wrap it up for the odd news for this week. So if it wasn't for those people, we wouldn't have a segment on odd news.
That's right. So God bless those people that give into that weird voice in the back of their head telling them to do crazy things.
Yep. Before we wrap this up, Mike, it's time for apocalypse activities. What do you want to recommend people do this weekend?
Yeah. So, I've already recommended, shows that I've been watching and my snack box. The other thing that I've been doing recently that I would like to recommend to people is I recently replayed God of War for PlayStation 4. I replayed it for my girlfriend to, bring her up to speed on the series and, share one of my favorite games from the past generation, especially since Ragnarok is coming out sometime this year. So I figured, best to recap the game just to, freshen myself up and bring my girlfriend up to speed. But man, it's the perfect time right now. There's like no games coming out because the console generations just switched over. So right now you're in that weird sort of in between area where, it's a good time to replay or play for the first time games from the previous generation that you never got around to. So I replayed God of War. I was looking at getting into Death Stranding because that's been super cheap recently. And I know I text you about, should I buy Death Stranding? So might have to go pick up a used copy at GameStop at some point and give that a shot. But yeah, it's the perfect time, while there's not many games out to replay or play for the first time some games you missed during the PlayStation 4 generation.
Well, you know what? Since you only hinted at it, I'm going to go full throttle. I'm going to tell you, if you want to play something wacky, play Death Stranding. Why not?
Okay.
If you didn't get a chance to. I'm trying to get the text message that I texted Mike about this.
Oh my God. You sent me like an essay. I was like, wow.
So basically, here's what I wrote as my summary is there's some weird parts in it, but in the end you figure it all out. There's also a random Conan O'Brien cameo. There you go. That's all you need to know.
I love that. His main bullet points were it's weird. You'll figure it out. Conan O'Brien. I was like,
Conan
okay.
O'Brien.
Okay.
It's so random. Like,
I know.
why is Conan O'Brien in this game? It just happens too. Like you'll see when you play the game, Mike.
I kind of want to buy it just to see the Conan O'Brien bit. And I know you also told me that there's, that's not only the only weird part about it. There's other weird parts like the rain controls time or time controls rain. There's some relation between time and rain, and Norman Reedus is like there. I don't know. It's just weirdness all around.
There's an uncomfortable amount of time that Norman Reedus is naked in this game.
That's what it was.
And it makes me wonder, like, did the staff have like a secret crush on him? Because like there's not a need for him to be naked this much.
Yeah.
So
there's not a need for him to be naked this much. They just wanted him naked that much.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird tidbits. And it's funny. It reminds me, now the more I think about it, it reminds me of Twin Peaks. It's just you either look at the weirdness and you just go, what the F? I don't care. This is stupid. I don't want to know. I'm done. Or you accept the weirdness and you go, I want to learn more.
Embrace the weird.
Yeah. And I feel like this is one of those games. I think if you get to the part, if you accept the weirdness of the world and you're good to go, then you're going to have fun with the game. But if you're not, I could see where people don't like it.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So replay your old PlayStation 4 games. I'm probably going to continue to replay them and maybe pick up Death Stranding and give that a shot as well. Yeah. But Rich, what do you have for apocalypse activities? Do you have anything you want to recommend to people?
No, I went with that. I'm going to go with Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. Okay, there you go. So Death Stranding, the recommendation from both of us.
Death Stranding or watch Twin Peaks. I want your mind to be uncomfortable this weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
there you go. Those are your two options from me.
Okay. There you go. Some fantastic apocalypse activities to keep you guys busy.
There you go. But for now, we are hitting our hour mark. We have to wrap this episode up. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting the Crispy Compact Communiqué. If you like what you heard, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you like all of our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, social media nonsense. And make sure you're in contact with us and send us stuff to talk about.
That's right. You can also find the video version of this podcast on YouTube. So make sure you search out the Crispy Noodle Podcast channel there. You can find the video podcast as well as a whole bunch of other videos. But you can also still get the audio version of the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Amazon devices. So make sure you search for, download, and subscribe to the Crispy Noodle Podcast on the podcast service of your choice or on YouTube.
That's right. We also have a SoundCloud page. Go check that out as well. Basically, we're all over the place.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere.
Yeah, and make sure you listen to us on your smart device because we're on that. So go check that out as well.
Yeah, you can't avoid us. But if you want to get in touch with in touch with us individually to share your sports, entertainment, or odd news stories, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
And I am at Richard Liebig, RichLiebig. Tweet us a topic, and if we do talk about it, we'll give you a shout out. So why not? Let us know what's happening.
There you go.
But for right now, we got to wrap this up. This has been the Crispy Noodle. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your visiting salad of life and boring news. That will do it. Anything else, Mike?
I'm good.
All right. Well, until next week, we'll have full Super Bowl coverage next week. So do attend. But for now, we will see you guys next week.
See you guys
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine people.